Hello. For us to be able to take the steps that we need to take in order to get the results that we're looking for in our lives, we have to learn the process of letting go of the parts of ourselves that are no longer in alignment with that. Hey everyone, it's Willow here, founder of Illuminance, and I specialize, as many of you know, and welcome to the channel if this is your first time here. I specialize in training HSPs to reveal their purpose and bring it into service in the world. And for me to be able to stand here and say that has meant that I have had to experience and go through many changes and stages in order to be able to do what I do today. What I really want to touch upon today, and my invitation for you to feel into how this resonates for you, is the area of learning to trust the process of change, essentially. So, in the examples that I can think of in my own life, as an HSP, a deep thinking HSP, as we all are, high sensory person, highly sensitive person, whichever term you prefer to use, I think a lot and I have to manage that. I have a very creative mind. I love my mind. I love the experience of myself. But when it comes to stepping into a new stage of life, whether that's been in my business, majority of the changes for me are in business. That is where I grow and develop through serving you guys, through training in my own training and through my practice, which to date of this video is 7 years of training and working with wonderful HSPs all over the world. For me to be able to stand here and share this with you is as a result of a series of challenges that I have had to go through in order to dedicate my life to my purpose. Finding our purpose is not like walking onto a stage of 10,000 people all of a sudden where you're immediately in your zone of genius and everything is aligned and working. Once we know what our purpose is, then the work begins. It's a lot of fun and it's aligned and it feels amazing. But my goodness me, it is probably the most effective arena that I know of to grow and evolve into the truth of who you are. There's nothing more effective than doing that I have heard or come across than pursuing our own truth and our own purpose. And that is my soul's journey here. There is nothing more important to me than honoring the truth of who I am. And that's not because I like the sound of it or I read it somewhere. It's because it's an inherent part of the blueprint of my soul to pursue that journey. And that journey has been incredibly challenging at times. And anybody that tells you different, who has created a business or pursued the path of their purpose, either isn't doing it or they're not telling you the truth. It's not a comfortable process, but it is probably the most rewarding thing that we can do with our lives. Of course, including the relationships that are important to us and living life to its fullest, enjoying life, but being in alignment with the truth of our identity and our purpose is without question one of the greatest endeavors that we can honor ourselves with and the world. But to do that, it means going through a process of shedding the old versions of ourselves that are no longer in alignment with that truth. And as I said that, there was a burst of visual that came across my mind's eye there as I saw the progress of what's actually happening there, where the more in alignment with truth we are, the more we are moving into a more glowing and illuminated version of ourselves that gets brighter, it gets bigger energetically, it becomes more grounded, it becomes a lot more joyful, it becomes a hell of a lot more fulfilling. But it is a series of stages where we're letting go of a version of ourselves that is no longer in alignment with the next stage that we're about to move into. And this is my invitation to know in your heart that you and all human beings, myself included, are designed to go through this process of evolution. The whole universe is evolving. Well, in this dimension here, we can safely say that we can clearly see how evolution is taking place. We are the leading edge of that evolution right now. You listening to this, wherever you're sitting, whatever year it is for you, you are living and breathing the leading edge of evolution. And that means that you're a part of that continuous change. So that means that you have a choice as to whether or not you that you are making the choice to surrender and be a part of that change in evolution, because your own change in evolution is a part of that greater evolution towards the better. And it's up to you whether you want to be a part of that. You are a part of it, but we always have the choice to resist it. And that becomes really, really painful. And what I've noticed over the years of doing this, and I'm talking about, I'm 48 now in the time of this video. And I can safely say for the last 28 years, I have been on a journey of self-transformation, and as we all have, I don't want to say that it's just me that's on this. I know that you already know this process, because in order to be able to get to where you are right now, you would have had to go through a series of changes and transformation. But because I'm so passionate about this, and because I'm so committed to being this true version of myself, to spend as much of my time and energy in becoming the truth of myself, I can give you a good insight into what that process is like. And I have to say that probably the greatest challenge in this is what our mind does. So it's a bit like a group of loving people gradually sliding you towards an edge. It doesn't sound very loving, does it? But let's say you're on a bungee cord, and then there's a net down there, and it's fully safe and everything's okay. It's a bit like a group of loving people that are gradually saying, like, in order for you to evolve, you're going to have to jump off this. You're going to have to take a leap of faith. And the whole of our system is going to resist that. And that is what I have noticed in my own process, is when I know a change is coming, I know something is about to happen, and I know I have to let go of a set of beliefs and a part of my identity that is no longer in alignment with where I'm going to be after I take that leap of faith. And my mind knows this. My mind knows that a change is coming, and my system knows that the change is coming. And it's a very uncomfortable process. And what I found is that the more honest we can be with ourselves, in the knowledge that where we're going is for our greater good. And if we have the right support around us, and if we are in tune, and if we're in alignment with what's calling us, then we know in our hearts that the change is the right thing for us to do. And we're naturally evolving that way anyway. We can't really stop the change from happening. We can stay stuck, and that makes us ill. It causes chaos across all areas of our lives. Having the courage to face this uncomfortable period of not knowing is, in my experience, one of the greatest processes that we can learn. You'll notice that it's the same kind of fears that come up for you every time you go through it. It's the same for me. There's a period where I'm like, oh my God, what's going to happen? I can feel my body changing. I can feel things happening. Energetically, things are shifting and changing, and that's not a comfortable experience. And sometimes there's big moments of revelation and amazing clarity, and then the following day, it's just absolute inability to make sense of anything. And of course, then the fear comes in. Is this the right thing to do? What's happening now? But what's actually happening is there's a shift energetically that's taking place, and what's being asked of us is to let go of the concept that we have of ourselves that is no longer serving who we are. It's no longer serving the change that's trying to take place. It's not making room for the new energy that is being downloaded through us and coming out through us from our own heart and soul. So my invitation is to trust that your body knows what it's doing, your system knows what it's doing, and you will be held through the process. And even if I was watching a video around this today, and it's so true, even if what you're expecting and moving towards doesn't seem to be happening at all in the period of change or the period after the change. And the paradox is that actually we experience the opposite of what's coming. So whatever it is we're moving into, in a sense, I think it's that we're being tested. I'm not 100% sure that that's the case. This, of course, is always an invitation to tune into what you know is right and to trust what you know is right. But I believe that the opposite that we experience is actually a part of change. I believe that the opposites come together, and within that attrition, within that resistance, the transformation takes place. It's a part of how our hearts turn lead into gold. That's for another video, that process itself. But what's actually happening is not comfortable. And the piece, as I say, is to trust the process and trust that you will be held. And that wonderful, I'm going to forget the author's name of the quote now, John Burroughs once said, "Leap and the net will appear." And that's exactly what happens when we trust this process, when we allow ourselves to surrender to the change that's happening and be aware of that we're not really in control of the greater, well, of course, we're not in control of the greater context of things. We're not really in control of ourselves either in the way that we would like to think that we are. We are part of a greater process of evolution. And as I say, we can resist that. But nature doesn't like that. Our soul doesn't like that. We become very depressed if we are maintaining a false identity. So our identity, in my experience, is constantly evolving. We're never going to complete the work. We're never going to figure it all out. We're never going to be complete in the way the human existence, the human condition operates. Right. So we're going to be in this process of evolution till the day we die. So either we embrace that and trust that process that essentially keeps us alive, trust the process of life that keeps us alive and knows what it's doing, and to embark on that journey and to go through those uncomfortable phases. So whatever you're facing right now, whether it is a change in your career that you know is coming, whether it is the evolution in your business that you know is coming, whether it is the evolution in your personal life, whatever it is, whatever you're stuck with and whatever you're holding on to try to stay safe and comfortable, is not serving you, and the more that you hold on to that, the harder it's going to get, and the harder life will become around you. By acknowledging that there is a change coming and embracing the fact that life will hold you through it, and your role is to allow it and to experience it, and to remember that when you look back over those difficult periods, you will see just how foundational they were in where you are today, which has been exactly my experience. There was so much fear in me before I took the leap and started training HSPs full time in 2018. My experience before that, I was really nervous about making that change. I've said this before, but the entirety of my living room had I was mapping out the process that I was going to create, and I was meticulous about the work that I was going to be doing, and that did help. But there was nothing that supported me more than allowing the shift in identity within me as I was stepping into the role of becoming a facilitator, and knowing that I knew what I was doing, and knowing that my own high sensory intelligence and gift was going to come forwards and was going to guide me and lead me, because it knows what it's doing far to a much better degree than my own conscious mind. And of course I made that change, and then I had to go through series of evolutions within that process, of course, because I'm evolving and growing as I am living that experience of a facilitator. And what a wonderful thing that is, because my own path and my own evolution is growing, which means I'm leading the way for the people that I'm training. So I can say with love and conviction and to reassure you that wherever you are right now, you will come through this. You will come into the next phase of your life that is there for you. And my invitation is to allow it. It's to trust it. It's to be in the discomfort of the change, knowing that healing, alignment, and transformation is around the corner. You've already done it in many ways to get to where you are right now. In the process of becoming a child to an adult, I mean, that's, the biggest transformation of all, really, I would say. So there we are. Wherever you're at, keep going, trust yourself, trust that there is a higher part of you that is guiding you, and that the world will hold you, life will hold you, and you will find and get to the place that you're looking for. I hope this is helpful. Looking forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.